Hi everyone, welcome back. In the previous video I showed you how to customize tasks and how to create all the widgets and error objects. And in this video I'm going to show you how to customize talk tasks. And for that we're going to use talk modes. So before we get into the tutorial, I did one thing in this project. I should copy the example game UI from the plugin and I replaced all the reference between them. So I'm gonna use this one instead of the default one, so I can customize it, I can change it, and I'm not gonna lose any progress if I update the plugin. Of course, you should do that, or if you have some UI for your game, that's fine. So for creating a talk mode, we're gonna need a data table. So I'm gonna go to the data table folder. I'm gonna create a new folder here, should to be organized. I'm gonna call this talk modes, and inside this one I'm gonna create data table. Go to miscellaneous data table, and we're gonna go and search for the quest talk task editor info. And if you remember, for task we used this one, so I'm gonna select that. I'm gonna call this custom talk modes, and inside this we're gonna add a row, and you can see it's pretty similar to task. You can have a name, you can have error objects, you have a content, you have a talk task selector and a custom payload selector. So this allows to pass some extra information for each talk task. So for this mode I'm gonna should call it conversation example. So it's gonna be a mode based on the conversation mode that is already in the plugin. And for errors, we're gonna use directly the ones that are for the conversation mode. So there are 3 of them, and it's the ones with the 0, mode 0. So you're gonna set those. And for the content preview, we're gonna create this one. We're gonna create also the custom payload, and the talk task we're gonna use the conversation one. So we're gonna select it, and for now that's it. I'm gonna go to the quest folder now. I'm gonna create a new folder here. I'm gonna call this one talk modes 2, and in here I'm gonna put all the necessary things for this mode. So what we're gonna do in this mode is pass a custom structure in each talk task, and for that we're gonna need a structure. So I'm gonna create that one, a structure, and I'm gonna call this conversation example data. And what we're gonna do in this structure, well, you can put any data in here that you want to use later on in the UI. You can do a lot of things like controlling a UI, creating different slots for the widget depending on the text, or depending on your game too. If you are going for a visual novel, you can change the NPC's image, things like that. So for this one I'm just gonna create the numerator. It's gonna be very simple. I'm gonna call this conversation example UI action. And in this one, and for this video, I'm gonna just add 2 actions. You could have more. You can do things like open the trade for NPCs, open the travel tab if you want something like that. So for this one, I'm gonna use just a none for the default one, and this one is gonna close talk tab. So that's what we're gonna do in this tutorial. We're gonna use text to close the tab. So I'm gonna close, save and close, and in the structure I'm gonna use that enumerator. If you search it, conversation example UI action is this one. I'm gonna call this action. Of course, this is a structure. You could have many more enumerators or different data. So for this tutorial we're gonna have a very simple one. So let's save this, and what we're missing now, well, we need a conversation content and a way to set the structure. So for that we're gonna need a selector, in particular a custom payload selector. Because I showed you in the previous video how to make those, I'm just gonna copy the ones from the plugin itself just to go quicker. So if we search the plugin, if you don't see these ones, you have to enable the engine content. I'm gonna go to quest editor here, and in toggle modes you can see these are the modes that come for the plugin. I'm gonna go to the conversation mode, and I'm gonna get the conversation toggle content, and this one I'm gonna copy it to the game, to the folder the toggle modes. So I'm gonna copy here, and if you go one back for the single sentence mode, you can see this one is the selector for the single sentence mode that already uses a custom payload. So we're gonna copy that one in here. Should copy. And now if we go back to the folder, we have our content and our selector. I'm gonna change the name for this one, conversation example selector, and conversation example whatever is there. So if you open this one, this is just gonna be the same for the toggle task that you see now. And if you open the example selector, you will see the single sentence mode, and we're gonna use for our structures just a numerator. So I'm not gonna need these things, so I'm gonna delete them, and I'm gonna keep this one. This is gonna be data. I'm gonna leave that. And if you go to the graph, you will see all these things. This is a custom payload. If you remember, you have a part that you commit a value, you have an update, and you have some updates of the variables. We removed some of these, so we are not gonna use this. This is going to be the numerator, so I'm gonna keep it, and this we don't need. For the combo box, we're gonna need a new enumerator that we created. If you see, this is generating the options dynamically with the numerator, and we're gonna do the same but with a different one. So if you go for each, and if you remember the number of the numerator for each conversation example UI action is this one. We're gonna convert this one to a string, enum to a string, and we're gonna use this one. If you hold Control and drag, you can move the pins, and now we should replace the combo box. So this now is generating option for the enumerator that we created, and you can see, if you remember, we had created all these separated variables for the structure, but this structure now is different. Is the one that we created. Is conversation example data. We're gonna change the variable type. I'm gonna close that. I'm gonna change the name, conversation data. I'm gonna change the numerator name, conversation y action, and I'm gonna change the type to conversation example UI action. Let's close this, and I'm not gonna need the float, so I'm gonna delete it. I'm not gonna need the color. I'm gonna delete it too, and we're gonna try to fix these nodes. So this was for the float. I'm not gonna need it. This is not needed anymore. This either. I'm gonna break this one, and you see this is the structure that we created. It has only a numerator. We're gonna set it, and for this one we use the new structure. So that's the same, it should go in a bit faster. If we have no data, we're gonna reset the combo box. If not, we're gonna select int, and here I'm gonna convert in the numerator to integer to select the option. And these ones we don't need anymore. Of course, if you have a structure that is a little bit more complicated, you're gonna keep these ones. I deleted the comment. Update. So basically what this is doing is just updating from a custom payload data, and is setting the variables in the selector. And for this part, for the commit, we're gonna commit using the new structure. So we're gonna make conversation example data, and we're gonna use this in the select like that. And for this part, this is for the old enumerator, so we're gonna change that to integer, to byte, and here from byte to enum. And we have then the update for when the enumerator changed in the combo box. So this is our selector, it should work. That's everything we have to do here. So we're gonna compile. Apparently we have to do something else. Oh well, this one changed the name, so we're gonna have to replace the nodes like that, and that's it. Now it works. Compile and save. And for now we're gonna close this one, and in the conversation content we're gonna just show the action. So I'm gonna copy this border with the text, I am gonna paste it in the vertical box, and you can see it here. I'm gonna line the border to the right, like that, and this is going to be the UI action. And this border, I'm gonna call it border UI action. So if we have some action for this talk task, we're gonna show it. And this is how it looks. It has just an update, but we're gonna go and search in the talk task the custom payload data, and this one we're gonna have to convert it to the structure that we should create it. So I'm gonna need a structure. I'm gonna call it like that, custom data. This is example conversation example data. Set it like that, and I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna call the function custom payload data to struct. I'm gonna connect it like this. So now we are sure getting the structure from the data, and we're gonna do some logic here. We're gonna break it, and we're gonna switch. Of course, if your structure is different and you want to do something else, you will do it in a similar fashion. So if the action is known, we're gonna take the UI action border. I'm gonna set the visibility to collapse, and if the action is different, we're gonna set it to visible or non-hit testable, and we're gonna set also the text. So the text is, let's see the text name. text block action. We go to the graph. I'm gonna set this one. I'm gonna connect it like that, and I'm gonna use the numerator directly to a string, and that will give me the action name. So this is the update to data, and now we have the content for this new mode. So should save, and we need to put these two in the data table. So you go back to the data tables, talk mouse, custom. We're gonna go to the custom preview widget, and we should see here the conversation example talk content. And for this one, conversation example selector. So we're gonna save, and now I'm gonna open the quest editor, and I'm gonna create a new dialog. If you see here, you can select the talk modes. So now you see there is one for conversation example. This is the one we created. If I select it and I put a talk task, you will see that we have the data to set here, and of course you can set all the normal things in the talk task. So let's say hello, how are you, and I'm gonna say I am good and I am living. Okay, I'm gonna put some text here, doesn't matter what, because with this one we're gonna close the talk tab. You can see it appear here. I should have put a different color so it's more cool, but this will do. So I'm gonna set the name for the dialog. It's gonna be example talk mode dialog, and I'm gonna save it in the dialogs data table. I'm gonna save it, and in the MPC I'm gonna pick one. Should go with Alf, and I'm gonna change the dialog. It's in the dialog one, example talk mode dialog. So with this one, we're gonna save the MPC, and if we go to the MPC, you will see the new dialog. So if this one for now is not doing anything, that is because we need to still change the UI and act with this data. So that's why I copied the UI first. I'm gonna go to that UI, and in the MPC talk, I'm gonna go for the talk tab. I call it all these customs just to be organized. And now I'm gonna use a new event dispatcher. So I'm gonna go and assign, and in dialog, and you have some option here, but I'm gonna use assign dialog reader, and you can see all the information that this dispatcher gives you, and you have access to the talk text, and in the talk text you can see the custom payload. So I'm gonna create a new structure, and I'm gonna call this example data. I'm gonna set the type, quest example, conversation example data, and now if you guess it, I'm gonna use a custom payload data to a struct. I'm gonna connect it like that, and connect the data, and now you have access to the action of the reader talk text. So I'm gonna switch, and if we switch here, we can close the talk tab, and for that I'm just gonna set the visibility. So if you read some text with this action, I'm gonna act and I'm gonna collapse the UI for talk mouse. For talk UI. So let's test it. So now if I select the dialog, it should close the UI. I'm gonna close it, tack, and there you got. We did something with the talk mouse in the game UI. It's cool for a lot of things like opening trade, opening travel tabs, changing the camera, changing the NPC motions, or something more gameplay related. Depending on your game, you surely will find some ideas. And that's gonna be it for this tutorial. I hope it's useful. Thanks for watching. Bye.